Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin' Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly comic book review. That's right everybody, thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin' Robbie Billups. This is the weekly comic book review. It's the show I read a lot of comic books, and I let you know what I thought about it. But before we get into that, I gotta say, first of all, our shipment from Diamond was delayed this week, so I didn't get any of the comics, right? So I had to reach out to some people, and luckily I got some advanced PDFs of the books that I was able to read. Most notably, I wasn't able to get a hold of some Dark Horse books and some other things like that. However, I did get to read most of what I decided I wanted to read, and I'm very confident with my pick of the week not being changed by having read some of the few books that I'll probably hopefully get tomorrow or the day after. So that's just the way it is, but we're going through with it. Also, though, a couple of announcements. We've been nominated for some CBC awards. Holy cow. The Comic Book Community Awards. We were nominated for Channel of the Year. We were nominated for a Lifetime Achievement Award, which station, and we were also nominated for Best Collaboration, along with Comics with Bueller, Bullseye Bob from Everything Comics, and Dylan from Dylan's Horror Show. And that's for the monthly comic book review. We just had the latest episode last Thursday. If you missed it, you definitely need to check it out. I also want to announce that Dynamite Entertainment has sent us this beautiful J. Lee Virgin limited cover for Red Sonja number 15. This is from the Mark Russell run, which was absolutely spectacular. It was a really solid run, but this is a really sharp, sexy cover by J. Lee. We're going to be giving this away. So thank you, Dynamite. Thank you for sending us this so we can send it back out and share the love. But all you got to do to win this is be subscribed to the channel, like this video, and comment down below. On Sunday night's Rockin' Robbie Live, which starts at 7 p.m. Central Time, I'll be announcing a winner. So be sure to join us for that. And all you got to do is like, subscribe, and comment below. This is a dope cover. I also want to announce that we have a code now that you can use at dynamicforces.com to receive a discount on your purchase. Just visit dynamicforces.com and enter Robbie at your cart to receive 10% off. And lastly, I have to dedicate this video to my homie, Jim Mint. Alright, and now it's time to roll on with the weekly comic book review, and we always start with the pick of the week. This week's pick of the week, The Many Deaths of Laila Starr, number 5, from Boom Studios, from Ron V, Felipe Andrade. This book is just amazing. So this is the final issue of what I consider, to this current point, the best comic I have read all year long. The Many Deaths of Laila Starr, number 5. So this is the finale of this story that's been about death losing her job. The goddess of death loses her job because a human has figured out a way to cheat death. He has figured out the formula for immortality. So she gets fired from her job and sent down to Earth in a human body. And then she has a series of many deaths. Now, this individual who is going to cure death, basically, right? Get rid of it and bring immortality to all, right? She winds up coming across him in each issue in different points of his life, and each issue is focused on the concepts and the ideas of grief and death and all that kind of stuff. Well, now, as you can kind of see the progression, this is one of the final meetings, right? And he's an older man and whatnot. I'm not going to spoil the issue because it was incredibly resonating to me. This book moved me. I thought it was brilliant. The artwork is great. It has this whimsical flair to it. The lettering is absolutely amazing. Everything. The entire total package, right? I cannot wait to actually have it in my hands. But Ron V has crafted something so in his vein, so distinctly and uniquely Ron V. It is a story about death. And by the end of it, you realize it's actually a story about living. It's a story about life. It's a story about, yes, tragedy, despair, sadness, but it's also a story about hope and optimism and joy. And this book was moving, and it moved me, and it's definitely the pick of the week. And so far, it's the pick of the year. But we got a long way to go. Let's see what happens. Let's jump over to Marvel. Well, we have Sinister War number 4. So this is the final issue of Sinister War, setting up the last couple issues of Nick Spencer's Spider-Man run. I said this on Comics Revisited on Monday night when we were talking about New 52 Wonder Woman, but yo, I am ready for this run to be over. Y'all know how I feel about it. Now that we're at the last issue of Sinister War, how do I feel? The same. Nothing happened. Seriously, this whole Sinister War, they bring in all these different versions of the Sinister Six, right? And they're just going to beat on Spider-Man. Meanwhile, Kindred's in the background telling you, the reader, there's a mystery. There's a mystery. You think you got it figured out? No, there's a mystery. And then it just kind of wraps up and leads us right back to the point where the inevitable confrontation between Kindred and Peter Parker and all of the revelations, because don't forget, there's mystery. This book has been grating. This artwork was very inconsistent in this issue in particular. I just didn't like it, but I'm glad it's over. So that's pretty cool. Dark Ages was a book from Iban Coelho and Tom Taylor. Now, this was first promised last year for Free Comic Book Day, or actually Free Comic Book Summer, however that worked. Anyway, massively delayed, but this is an Elseworlds type story, a what if you will, by Tom Taylor in the Marvel Universe where all the power has gone out. So now the Marvel Universe has entered into a new Dark Age. I liked it. It's kind of like his Marvel version of Deceased, right? It's not about zombies or the anti-life equation or anything like that. It's something a little bit different, a little bit more rooted in Marvel cosmology, which I did like, I did appreciate, and how it comes about. And then the ramifications by the end, I really liked it. Thought the artwork was solid, thought the concept was solid, thought the ways to get there was great. Tom Taylor has a great knack to be able to tell a very exhilarating and exciting superhero story, even in a what-if scenario, but do it in a very emotional way that kind of tugs at your heartstrings, right? Last Annihilation, Wiccan and Hulkling. I read this. It was probably a mistake because I have not been following Guardians of the Galaxy, this last Annihilation event. Last week when I read the Cable Reloaded book, I was lost and confused. Same way here, though what I did appreciate was a little bit more information on Wiccan and Hulkling, how they met, how they formed their relationship, how the proposal went down. So there's a lot of flashbacks. So fans of Wiccan and Hulkling, it sucks that they're regulated down to just these occasional one-shots tied in with events, but at least they're actually using these events to flesh out the characters and their history a little bit more. The rest of the stuff, though, I was super lost, had no idea what was going on. Hellions number 15. So you know that I'm getting tired of the X-Men books, especially the announcement that Hickman's leaving. We're never really seeing the full plan that we felt like we were promised, this true vision. That being aside, Hellions has been one of my favorite, most consistently of all the X books. So I was excited to read this, but it has been waning on my interest. And this one still kind of did that. It didn't have that quirky dynamic that's made some of the previous issues work, and that's between the characters of the team. Like, they don't really work. They're starting to gel a little bit, and that's nice to see. There's still some moments here and there, and there's some big revelations on the idea of what Sinister's actually doing, but we already knew this and knew that we were, like, building up to it, so it just kind of loses its effect because it's not handled with a lot of finesse, in my opinion. So Hellions number 15 was pretty solid. It wasn't going to make me drop because right now I'm at that moment where if I just don't like an X book, it's off. It's off. But right now, Hellions is safe. Hellions is safe. Then we have, let's see, Demon Days, Cursed Web number 1. This is the Peach Momoko book. I really liked issue 1. I really liked issue 2. There was, There was the Demon Days X-Men and Demon Days Mariko. This one continues the story. The artwork's fine, but it does start feeling just a bit rushed. The story didn't quite hit me the same way either, but it's Mariko kind of meeting Silk, coming up against Sabretooth and Mystique, and they're interesting versions of the characters that are kind of inspired by Japanese folklore. I think that's cool. I think this is going to be read a lot better as maybe like an overall graphic novel or something. So right now I'm feeling a little lost in the plot right now with issue number 3, which is actually issue number 1 of the Cursed Web book. Then we have Avengers 48. Avengers 48, I thought we were like getting to the end of Jason Aaron's run. Then they just announced today the Avengers Forever ongoing series by Jason Aaron. So I don't know where we're at there. There's a lot of potential with Jason Aaron's Avengers run in the beginning. There is still a lot of potential, but a lot of it just kind of maybe takes too long to develop, and it just doesn't, I don't know. It'd be interesting to actually sit down and reread it all and see how it evens out that way as a run. I may actually have to do that. Well, not during Horror Fest, I'll tell you that. But anyway, this issue was okay. It mostly focuses in on Gorilla Man, but like I said, the Gorilla Man stuff has just been a few bits through a few issues over a lot of issues, right? And it just doesn't feel like the payoff works, or the resolution to the payoff of the betrayal of Gorilla Man. And then we have this idea of the Winter Guard. They've kidnapped She-Hulk, and they've done experiments to her in the Red Room, and they've made her the Winter Hulk, and they're sending her after. There's a Blade scene in here. So I'm always down for a Blade scene. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's jump over to Image, where I read Undiscovered Country, issue number 15. Really like this issue. I like the concept of undiscovered country. The idea that America's walled itself off from the world for decades, and some people break back in, and it's this crazy world in there. And it's like this crazy, like, Oz, Narnia, Tolkien, Middle-earth. It's like this crazy fantasy world in there, and there's all these different factions. There's the world of destiny and the world of unity, and now they're in the world of possibility, and they're dealing with all these American archetypes and mythological stuff. And in the last issue, they were doing some superhero stuff, and I thought that that was an interesting concept, but the execution just wasn't quite there. On this one, they go a little bit more old school. They go into the folklore like John Henry, and they go into like the Paul Bunyan stuff, and they get a little bit deeper into that. And I liked it. I thought it was cool. It also had, one of the things I don't like about this book is that it doesn't feel to me like I'm connected to any of the characters. This was the first time I actually felt like that. I felt like they really took time to focus in on this character, and they have done this in the past, but for some reason in this one it resonated with me and I thought it was cool. Then I read Sweet Paprika number 2 from Mirka Andolfo. I don't typically like her work, but I loved issue number 1 of Sweet Paprika, so I wanted to check out issue number 2. And I dug it. I thought it was awesome. I liked it a lot. I thought it was super freaking cool. So Sweet Paprika is about this. She's like a editor, top-notch CEO or something like that at this this book press, right? And she's also a demon. This is a world populated by demons and angels. I don't really quite understand why, but it just is, and it works. Why not? But basically, she's this bigwig at this printing publisher firm or whatever, right? And she is incredibly backed up sexually. She has a lot of issues. Her dad would, like, you know, ridicule her for, like, showing too much skin or wearing too skimpy clothes or being too overtly sexual and things like that. So she's very kind of, like, held back with and constrained, right? She's really repressed kind of sexually, and it kind of comes out in another way in her work life. Meanwhile, there's this angel who's a mailman at the job, and she's like fantasizing. It's really interesting. It's raunchy. It's humorous. It's fun. I like it. I like it a lot. And I like the artwork. It's got this nice cartoony, sleek, fun, sexy style that really lends itself to what the book is supposed to be. Spawn 321. Talking about a book that's supposed to be exactly what it's supposed to be. It's Spawn. This is getting deeper into the mystery of, yo, what's up with Medieval Spawn? Like, Medieval Spawn came back, but then he died. And he had already died before, right? And they delve into all that stuff. And the big mystery, and who is the new Medieval Spawn? And what's going on with his armor? Something's weird about it. It's enchanting, right? There's some weird off scenes with Al, like, just going ape shit on his crew. And, I mean, it was decent enough. Carlos Barberi's artwork is the best I've ever seen in the pages of Spawn. So I like the artwork. I really love the mystery of the Medieval Spawn. That was very enticing for me throughout Spawn 321. Then we have Geiger number 6. This is the final issue of Chapter 1, Book 1 of Geiger. But we get some really exciting announcements about the evolution of this world of Geiger, and that there's a lot more involved. And I'm very excited about that. We'll be talking about that on the weekly pop culture wrap-up this Saturday morning. But Geiger number 6 was an amazing finale to a great superhero book that's fantastic, but at the same time grounded in what? Family. You don't leave family behind, right? That's just like Dom Toretto says. But no, the book is absolutely fantastic. The artwork by Gary Frank, this is extra sized. It's $1 extra, but it is extra sized in issues, in pages, and it works. It works so well. It's a great finale. It brings everything to a head, and it leaves just enough open for the continuation of Geiger, but also for the expansion of it into other medium. And I'm really excited because I know you've already heard some of the announcements probably, but Gary Frank and Jeff Johns are committed to the bit, and they're planning on giving us more in this world, and I'm all for it. Geiger #6 was amazing. From Dynamite, we got a new Red Sonja #1. This is written by Mirka Andolfo. I liked it. I thought it was super cool. If you've always been interested in the character of Red Sonja, wanted to jump in on the comic books, this is a really great time to do that. This was a new #1, a new direction. Basically, Red Sonja is tasked with finding this young child who was kidnapped years ago. She finds the child, but there's something about her that she's got these gifts or something like that, right? So you get some really interesting character work with Red Sonja of having to kind of take care of this child and teaching this child, and then the dangers. The artwork was cool. It wasn't Andolfo's artwork, but it kind of fit in that style, but a little bit more. It's a little bit more constructed, right? But I loved it. I thought it was super solid first issue, and I'm very excited to see where this book is going to develop. From Aftershock, we have Almost American #1. This is from Ron Mars with artwork by Marco Castillo. This book was pretty solid. It didn't quite give me enough to truly hook me. That's something I've been noticing in some Aftershock books lately, but it's about these Russian spies who wind up in the Dominican Republic. They go to the U.S. Embassy, and they're like, yo, we want to like become Americans. We got secrets, and we just kind of want to be Americans. I think it's based loosely on some real life type stuff. It was paced well. The artwork was solid, but it just didn't give me enough oomph. Like, basically what I told you, which you can easily glean from the solicits, is exactly what happens in that issue. I mean, it delves into a little bit of their history, who they are, and things like that. Some character work and building. But then when it ends, you're just like, I needed more of a conflict hook to kind of bring me in. You know what I'm saying? Also from Boom, we have Basilisk #4. This one I've been kind of up and down on, but as the issues progress, I'm liking it more and more. Cullen Bunn's doing a great job here. The artwork is super, super solid. It's about these like godlike villainous beings who come down to Earth. They just wreck shit, right? Just tear ass through this community, and now they're like hated and reviled, and this one woman's on revenge, and she's convinced one of the group to go against the others, and all their powers are based on one of the senses, like sight. I almost said sight and smell. Do you smell with your ears? No, but hearing, smell and taste, all that kind of stuff, right? You know what your senses are. I may not, but I'm sure you know. Is this real? Is this real? No? Okay. It's not real. Anyway, so we don't have to worry about it. Anyway, Basilisk #4 I thought was super, super solid. And I'm getting more intrigued by it. I really like the artwork, especially when they do this like watercolory type thing like that. Let's jump over to DC because I actually got those on hand. And first up, we have Fear State Alpha #1. This is the big kickoff to the next Batman event, orchestrated by James Tynion. So this is written by Tynion. It's got artwork by, Riccardo Federici. Usually a lot of clean, nice fantasy type artwork from this cat. This one just feels a little bit more simple, a little bit more rushed, not sloppy. It's not bad. It's still good artwork. In fact, there's some moments where it's really freaking good, but it just doesn't feel like the quality of something that we've seen in, say, The Last God. The story's all right. It's kind of meandering around a little bit and just kind of using its place as a recap in case you haven't been keeping up with the Batman stuff, or if you're a little bit lost of how we've gotten to this point. It does a lot of exposition, info dump type stuff to kind of catch everybody back up and make sure everything's laid out and you understand what exactly is going on. It does, at the end, though, lead into some really exciting type stuff. It could probably be skippable, but maybe not. But, we know how this stuff goes. So this is a one-shot, and it's catching everybody back up on what's happened to lead us to this point, and then it evolves the story just enough to be able to kick off what will possibly be happening in books like Catwoman, Harley Quinn, Nightwing, I Am Batman, because we know that's happening. Fear State Alpha, if you're planning on it, you might as well. It's a light week for DC. We also have Infinite Frontier #5, the penultimate issue, but not the end of this bridge to a bridge to a bridge to the next crisis, and I'm all freaking for it. Everything becomes a lot more clear here. This issue really explains what the Psycho Pirate is up to and how he is aligned with Darkseid's plans and what exactly is going on there. It reveals some interesting revelations about the Black Lantern ring that Roy Harper's wearing, and overall, I loved it. I love this Crisis stuff from DC, though. I just eat it up. I love it. Can't get enough of it. And now we got the announcement that the Justice League Incarnate is coming up next, like in just a few months, spinning out of the events of here. I'm very excited. Some big, boisterous moments. The only problem is the artwork does get a bit inconsistent, but it is nice to see Power Girl and the JSA back in true form. Then we have Wonder Girl number 3. A disappointing issue for me. We waited a long time for this, and I really like Joelle Jones. I really love the 2 issues of Wonder Woman that she did for Future State. I was really excited about this Yara Flor book. I love this character. I want this book to be good. And on issue 3, I don't think this book is good. Like, the Joelle Jones bits are okay artistically. They're great artistically. And they're okay story-wise, but there's so little to it. There's not much actually happening in this issue. And then the Joelle Jones bits keep getting interrupted by another artist, right? Just like in the last issue. And then on top of the artwork being a bit more clunky, and Joelle Jones is not clunky at all. It's sleek, it's sophisticated, and it's cool. Then it goes into a more awkward and clunky art style that just throws me off. And then the script gets clunky too. And clunky is the word of the day, by the way. But Wonder Girl number 3, it was a big disappointment for me. I want this book to soar. I want to really like this book. But I'm just not. I loved the Future State books. I loved issue 1. Didn't like 2. And I thought 3 was the worst of the batch. Batman, Superman. Hey, I thought we were done with this, but we're not. Gene Luen Yang kind of giving us a nice coda to the big story that he just told in Batman, Superman. The last issue was last week, but now we got this 2021 annual. There's a few other annuals that I didn't read because I'm not keeping up with those series. There was like Harley Quinn and something else. And Teen Titans Academy was this week too. But Batman, Superman, the annual is interesting. It's cool because if you've been following the books, there are these 2 new worlds that we've learned. There's a Batman-centric world. It's a little bit dark, but it's all like very golden age feeling. And the same thing with Superman. It's futuristic, but it's very golden age feeling. And they kind of swap places. And the book is a flip book, which I really, really like. So you get this Batman story with Paul Pelletier doing the artwork, and it's decent, and it's cool, and it's nice, and then at the end, it kind of warps and mixes in with this book, which has artwork by Francisco Francavilla. I'm a huge Francavilla fan. Obviously, this work is not quite on par with some of his prints or some of his covers, but I love it. I love the coloring. Just nice, fun, old-school feeling DC stories that have a nice, like, innovative twist in the middle, let's just say, of everything. And then we're going to wrap it up with the Aquaman 80th anniversary. First of all, I'm going to say this. I got the A cover right here. Ivan Reis doing Aquaman on a seahorse. This is exactly the cover that should be on Aquaman 80th anniversary. He should be in his classic costume. He's got a beard. I love Aquaman with a beard. But Aquaman with a beard with the short hair doesn't quite work for me. This should just be classic Aquaman. Aside from that, this was a solid anniversary issue. It wasn't as good as some of the other ones before, and you know me, I'm the hugest Aquaman fan, you probably know. There's a Jeff Parker story with Evan Doc Shaner on the artwork that was really slick. I really like the artwork there. There's a Jeff Johns story with Paul Pelletier. That story was cool, focusing on Jackson and his relationship with Black Manta. You have Michael Morisi and Pop Mon doing a story, Lady in the Lake, that was really gnarly cool. I thought that was awesome. Then Stephanie Phillips came in with Multitudes. That was a decent enough story. Sean Aldridge's story with Tom Derenick. That was probably one of the weakest of the batch for me. Marguerite Bennett did one that's kind of based on the whole... what was it? What is it? Like the steampunky 40s style DC girls. What the hell was that stuff called? Bombshells. DC Bombshells. It's set in that world, so that was freaking cool. Then you've got a Kevin Scott story. It was alright. Scott Eaton's artwork was cool, though. Then Dan Waters, Miguel Mendonça did a story. That's worth the price of admission alone. Let's get an ongoing Aquaman book written by Dan Waters, and that's not just me saying that he deserves the job because of his last name. I just love the way he writes Ocean Master. I love the structure of this, how he related it to the storm, and the two storms meeting of the brothers, and... Can we get Dan Waters on an Aquaman book? Like, that would be freaking awesome, right? And also, his last name is Waters. So, there you go. Then you got Dan Jurgens, Steve Epting, taking me back to the 90s. Really like that. And then there was a Red Sea story. Yeah, that's Chuck Brown kind of spotlighting the upcoming Black Manta series. That was interesting. And then Brandon Thomas doing one to kind of foreshadow Aquaman The Becoming. And let me just say that baby Andy was adorable in that story. So I love this. But I know it's Aquaman. I love Aquaman. And it's not the best of the anniversary issues. But I guess actually going back through it, I enjoyed it more than I thought. It's got some nice artwork. It's got some cool stuff in it. Got some interesting stories. You know, I'll tell you what. There's not a lot of Aquaman out there right now. I'm going to go ahead and say, this is a must-buy. This is a must-buy. This is Aquaman. Everybody needs to love and respect Aquaman as much as me. No, it's okay. If you don't like Aquaman, it's fine. But Aquaman is the best. Anyway, that's what I read. That's what I thought about it. What are you reading? What are you digging? What's your pick of the week? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget, when you comment, like, and subscribe to the channel, you are entered to win this Dynamic Forces Dynamite Entertainment Red Sonja number 15 J. Lee Virgin Limited Edition cover. I will announce the winner from one of the random comments generated here on the channel on Rockin' Robbie Live Sunday night. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And click that notification bell so you don't miss a single video. And join us over at popculturephilosophers.com for podcast blogs and a whole lot more. I've been Rockin' Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Station. Keep on reading.